Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This what I tell 'em. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with session 2 of the Captain's Leadership Series. Again, we have Captain Lakyra Pharms with us and Captain Olaolu Ogunyemi. Great people doing great things in the U.S. Marine Corps and amazing leaders. And so I'm so thankful to have them, first off, doing the series, but really just diving deep into their journey, their track, some of the things that they've learned, and I'm grateful for them to share. So again, thank you guys, and good to see you all.
Likewise.
All right. So the last, the first series, the first session that we did, we just took turns, and me striving to be respectful. I let Captain Pharms go first. But seeing that she's a captain, it's like, hey, do I have to go first? No, ma'am. So we're going to switch it up today. And as I throw the questions out at them, Captain Ogunyemi will be first today. Okay, per request. And then we'll just take turns going on the questions. But the first question today we'll start with is, why is leadership important? So, Captain Ogunyemi, why is leadership important to you?
Okay, so this is one of those questions that when I read the questions ahead of time, it was a head scratcher, because I was like, you know what, that actually is a great question. Why is leadership important? So, I mean, because we know that organizations that do case studies, I mean, we do in-depth research, we invest in all the training. I mean, obviously, we're doing podcasts about it, but it's like, why are we doing it? So my theory, and again, this is my theory, so you can call it wrong if you want, but my theory is it's important because leadership creates a culture. And then for me, what I believe is the culture determines whether your organization wins or loses. And so when I think about culture, I always think of a culture as the values, the traditions, the beliefs, interactions, behaviors, attitudes, all those things. It's like a large pot of gumbo, in case you guys get hungry. It's like a conglomeration of all those things.
He's from Louisiana too, y'all.
Yeah, exactly. All those things make up the organization's culture. What I believe is a positive culture attracts, talent, and it increases everybody's level of buy-in. It helps with good interactions and the behaviors. And then it builds that level of trust and loyalty. And most importantly, it builds that unit cohesion, or that camaraderie that we always talk about. The team, it's just that team has, they just come together. When I think about it, I always think that, the true leaders, they build those cohesive teams just so they can work towards a common goal, right? So I like to compare it to sports, because, I love sports. And when I did run track at some point. Now, I'm not as fast as I was, but at one point I ran track, and I actually did relays, all three of them. And one thing that just, when I was thinking about this question, one thing that just stood out in my mind is when my coach, he was leading us through, just trying to make us better at running track, right? And if you run track, that every single second, every millisecond counts in track. So one of the things that he used to do, man, he used to make us practice handoff baton. I mean, hours upon hours investing in handoff baton. And I remember thinking, man, this guy's lost his mind. You know what I mean? But that was just one of the many examples of, how that muscle memory, just working through that was just building that team cohesion and that unit camaraderie, to when we got out there, we won, right? When we got out there, we couldn't lose a relay unless we got DQ. But when we got out there, we couldn't lose. And it's because he created that culture of perfection, and to me, that culture is what produced the wins. So anyway, that was my long-winded way of saying that leadership is important, because it's really what separates the leaders or the winners from the losers.
Love it. And then I also love how you talked about you have to build it. You have to create it. I think for me, things synonymous with success. I think, no significant success or no significant leadership or no significant culture is going to come to you. You have to go get it and make it happen. All right. Well, Captain Pharms, you're up. Why is leadership important?
Yes. To me, I just think of it real simple. Leadership is important. Like, you got to have somebody there to pretty much maintain good order and discipline for whatever unit, section, organization it may be. You have to have that person that's there to just kind of, give the orders and let people know what they're doing, because you can't just have, a group of people just all on their own program. Somebody has to set that up. And I can just think of some immediate examples, prior to, when we're getting ready to go to the field or execute an exercise or whatever. I could see in times if there wasn't somebody who was standing there, like that was the leader, or, that held some type of position to be able to, held some type of position of authority to be able to rally everyone to do what they're supposed to do. So we had Marines showing up the day that they were supposed to push out for the exercise, and everyone's just kind of sitting around. They're sitting there with their gear, they're waiting. No one's really taking any initiative. Everyone's just kind of moving around, doing whatever. And it always takes like one person to get up, and they're just like, okay, let's get accountability of everybody out here. Let's make sure we have everyone. We're counting for all the people. We're counting for all the weapons. We're counting for all the gear that we're taking. And then as we load the buses, somebody that's checking off all the names and whatnot, just making sure. And so that's what I'm saying, like having somebody that's in a leadership position just to maintain, whatever those standard operator procedures are that you have or whatever. They're just that person that's there to maintain good order and discipline, because you can't, if you don't have leadership, if you don't have someone in that leadership role, in an organization, it's just going to be chaos. There'll be no order. So that's just a simple answer to it.
Love it. Love it. Maintain order and discipline. Love it. So the next question is, what are some of the traits that great leaders have? So, you two having gotten to where you are, if you hadn't observed some great leaders, I like to look at it as, we all have a this or that we look at people and we see, oh, that's good, I can incorporate that. Or, ooh, I don't want to do that. Ooh, that's not very good. And so, Captain Ogunyemi and I were talking before the call about, his father and the discipline, that he instilled in them. And so that's a great trait to have. But what are some of the traits that you've seen that some of the great leaders have had in your life? And Captain Ogunyemi, you can go first.
All right. So I think Captain Pharms was trying to give me a subtle hint that my answer was too complex. So I'll keep it simple. So some of the traits that I've observed that leaders that work for me, and it just I feel like it's something I've learned from, is number one, leaders listen and learn. So they always want to give. We alluded to this last week when we talked about Tyson, Donnie Smith. He was the one that said the answers are always in a room in the last session that we did. But we just know that leaders want to give every last one of their people a voice. And I mean, everybody's gonna run the show. I mean, there's obviously we say that a body with two heads is a monster. We're not saying that, but we do believe that, or I do believe that, having that ability to listen and just to hear what your people think is just a must. And then the second part of that is that they learn, right? Leaders are continuous learners. I learned this from a general. Her name is General Maylock. She's currently the director of IC4 in the Marine Corps, which is like the IT department for the Marine Corps. And when she said this, I couldn't believe it. She said that as a general officer, right? And a general officer she's been in organizations for over 3 decades now. So, she's been there, done that.
She has a good idea about it.
Exactly. But she was telling us, she's like, I'm a continual learner. I'm a continual learner. You hear people say that and you sort of turn it, okay, continual learner. So then she tells a story about how she's out for a run and she's listening to a podcast about encryption. And I'm like, on a run? Who on a run is going to be listening to something that requires so much technical, that has so much technical detail that you have to just pay attention so much to. But for her, she's like, I have to stay ahead. I have to stay relevant. I have to not only know what IT is going on in the Marine Corps, but she has to understand IT in the civilian world. So it's those kind of
Mhm.
things that leaders are always learning, and they're just trying to make themselves better at all times. And then the second part of it is leaders look and adjust. So they're always observing. They're always trying to figure out, okay, you know, what's working and what's not working. They're always paying attention to you. They're always evaluating you. They're always trying to get an understanding of what makes you better. And then they adjust, right? So if that means moving one person from one location to another, whether that means providing additional resources to somebody, whether that means taking resources away or firing somebody, leaders have to adjust on the fly and understand that their adaptability and their ability to adjust is what separates them from being a successful leader or just running an organization to the ground.
Mm.
So that would be my two big traits for a leader.
Love it. So listen and learn and look and adjust. Good. I think those are also great ones. Just like you said, it's great to be around people that are doing those things because like they show you, and like not only are they in like top positions, but they're continuing to grow, continuing to push themselves. Like you said, always remain relevant. I had a scenario where one of my in coaching, I had a defensive coordinator that was similar, and I thought a lot of him, and he had done some pretty neat things in his life, in his career, and the first spring that we were together, I remember him like researching and handwriting like 3 or 4 pages of clinics that we could go to and putting it up on the board, right? And I'm thinking to myself like, he don't need to go to any of that, you know, but uh, not only did he put that up there, but he went to as many of those as he could go to with us. Hey, let's go here, let's go, let's go talk. I'm gonna call so and so we can get in there, and it was pretty awesome to see that. Well, I guess we'll dive into the last question, uh,
Okay.
and we'll just talk about leadership style. What is your leadership style?
I actually laugh at this question because I'm just me. I can't avoid it. I tried not being me one time, and I always tell it. The last time I tried not being me, I was sagging in jeans that were way too small, and I was trying to wear a do rag that had holes in it. So I mean, I'm just not a fan of trying to be somebody else. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
that's for somebody else. So for my leadership style, it's four things, and they all rhyme because that's how my mind operates. It makes it simple for me. Show, know, grow, and row. So the first thing, show. So I believe that as a leader, first and foremost, you have to set the example like that. Then that's part of my leadership style. Like if I tell my guys or my Marines hey, you need to be able to run, you need to be able to lift, you need to be physically strong, then I need to be up every morning or in the afternoon, whatever time. I need to be training myself to be physically strong and have the endurance. If I tell them they need to be knowledgeable, they need to be educated, then again, I need to be showing the example, setting an example for them to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be knowledgeable. I'm going to do exactly what like I described with General Maylock, and I'm going to say, you know what? When I'm running, I'm not going to listen to a podcast on encryption. That ain't happening. But I will take some free time to actually read and learn and develop my mind. So I believe that first part of that is just set the example, like show. The next part is know, and what that means is just know your Marines, know the people that you're leading, know like your organization, know the team. One thing I heard from General Shea, who was the recent, she recently was the commander of the Marine Logistics Group in the Marine Corps. Um, she always said this to somebody. She said, "Hey, you need to know trucks and planes." When the guy that I work for, he's working in the wing. She told him, "You need to know trucks and planes." And I'm like, "What in the world does that even mean?" Because he repeated it to me, and I was like, "I'm sure it didn't make sense when she said it to you. So when you turn around and say it to me, it still does not make sense, right?" But when he explained it, is because they were working in the air wing, right? And what she was telling him is, "Hey, you can sit here and just think you're going to know everything about IT and communications, or you're going to realize that you will quickly make yourself irrelevant if you don't start knowing a little bit more about the organization, a little bit more about
Mhm.
where you're serving and what you're doing." So
Yeah.
just knowing, like, again, knowing the organization and being very knowledgeable. And then the second part is knowing the people that you're leading. like know what they're going through, know where they're from, understand where they're from, and be able to find some way to lead them in that regard. The third is grow, and that ties right in with that know. Be able to grow and develop not only your organization, but be able to grow and develop the people that you're leading. And the way that looks for me in the Marine Corps is you're always providing opportunities for the individual to get training, providing opportunities for the individual to understand how important their role is in the Marine Corps. And I think it's the same thing will span any organization. They have to understand that, hey, I have the potential to grow in this organization. And the second time, grow the organization. Like it's a little bit harder in government, but not so much, right? So one thing that we try to focus on, especially at our level, is retention, right? Because if we pass that off to, those organizations, those people that are way at the top, then we'll never, ever be able to retain the right people. So that one thing we focus on is retention. And we do that in order to support the organization and grow the organization to make sure that the right people are in the right places. And the last point is row. And what that means is it's just simple. It's a sports reference. Sometimes you got to row hard. You got to work your people, and you got to be okay with it. As Captain Pharms, she's literally right here in a desert uniform because she is rowing. You know what I mean? That's how it works. I mean, sometimes you just got to work, and they got to be okay with it. If you get those other three right, I think they'll gladly row for you. They'll gladly work hard for you. But there's gonna be times when I remember when I first showed up as a brand new lieutenant. I remember showing up and telling them, hey, we're gonna do this, and that. I need this done, I need that done. And I came out the gate because I had to. I mean, this is stuff that had to be done, And I just remember like everybody sort of like, oh, what's going on? I was like, oh man, maybe I joined the wrong organization because I'm pretty sure that we just need to get the job done. And it's just that thing, man. Nobody goes to an organization to not be challenged. So you have to be able to like just row. You got to row and row hard. Again, you're leading them. You are leading. Don't tell them to do anything that you won't do, but you got to be willing to row and row hard. So show, know, grow, row. That's important. And I'm not a rapper, but I think you dropped that in there.
Hey, you said that, man. I almost hit you with a beat or something, man. Well, Captain Pharms, let's hit on traits that great leaders have had throughout your journey.
Yes, and so traits that are super important to me. I think one, leaders that I've had that are pretty humble. I always look for humility in a leader because it kind of shows that they're not just all about themselves and not just in this to kind of like pump themselves up, but they're understanding that their role in this organization is to help the organization and the people in it to progress. And by default, if you do those things, you'll also be uplifted with it. So some type of humility, leadership that's transparent. Like, you always want to be able to know the why and behind what you're doing. And I think leaders who do a good job of explaining that why, like those are the ones that, people are more inclined to follow because you understand like the reason. People aren't just barking orders at you, but they're letting you know we have to get these things done so we can meet this goal. And this is what your role is in that. And this is why that role is important. So it kind of lays out like the whole big picture and it encourages people to do their part in order to meet the mission accomplishment. And then another thing I look for in leaders is for them to just be like firm but fair. Like you definitely, especially in this organization, and I know I've learned this over time. Like I definitely want to make sure that you're setting a standard and that you are able to hold your Marines or whatever group you are in charge of, hold them accountable for when they're doing wrong, but also make sure that you're being fair. Like look at everything that contributed to whatever that downfall is, and then kind of judge what the punishment is going to be based on all the contributing factors. And so, like, although you're being firm and making sure you're upholding the high standards of the organization, you still want to be fair and consider the human factors to all that. So those are just three things that have always been important to me when I see leaders. Yeah, like I said, humility, being transparent, being firm but fair, and above all else, is being real. Like it's very easy it's very easy to tell when somebody is kind of fronting, when they're standing in front of you trying to act like they know everything, or, you know, they kind of just walking around like they're the most important person in the room or whatever. And people can sense that. And then those type of people is really hard to get, you know, everyone to want to contribute to help you get, you know, to help. They'll get you to mission accomplishment, but they're not going to go above and beyond in a way that somebody who's at least a little more real with them. And that goes along with that transparency. Like sometimes I might walk in the room and Marines might ask me something. And if I don't know, like I'm not afraid to say that. Because like Marines, they already can tell. Like if it's something that I don't know and I'm like, you know what, that's not, I don't even know that. Like who in here does? Like, let's see. Let's go find out. Or I know some people, you know, if I don't know something, I always know someone I can ask. And so just being real transparent about that. And so, you know, the Marines are able to see like a real example of like some leadership standing in front of them. Cause you know, they get this perception that you have to be this perfect, like robot. You have to know all these things. You have to have all, and that's not it. Like you can be like a normal person, just like me, standing in front of them, but you have to be able to communicate like what you do and you don't know, and you have to be resourceful. And you can kind of, if you show that to your Marines, and then, you know, and it gives them an opportunity to stand out because there might be somebody in that room that can fill in the gaps. So that's what I'm saying. Just being real with your Marines, or those that you lead, and don't try to put on like some type of front. So those are all really important.
I love it too. I think you know, you said being humble, transparent, firm but fair, and being real. I think when you can do all of those things, just like you said, I think it brings the greatness out in the room or wherever situation you're in, because you know, if you can say, hey, I don't know that, who knows that? You know, like you said, it gives somebody opportunity to step up, and then now, hey, let's go. You know it, let's go. You know, gives them opportunity to lead and have confidence and do those things. And when you're a leader that can, I don't know, I think leader is synonymous with coach. You know, and when you are leading a team, coaching a team, you find the like what are all of our strengths? You know, I'm gonna put you in a situation to where you can accentuate, you know, do your thing with your strengths, you know, and then what are our weaknesses? I'm gonna help you get better on those. And so when you are a captain, coach, leader that does those things, you're gonna get the best out of your people, regardless, because they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you care. And if you're not a great leader, you don't take the time to do those things. And y'all mentioned all of those things that go with that. So let's go, Captain Pharms. Let's talk about your leadership style. You know, what do you strive to have in your leadership style?
So in my style of leadership, first and foremost, I just try to make sure that, you know, those things that I mentioned, you know, the traits that I look for, I just try to make sure that I reflect that. First and foremost, I make sure I'm always myself around them, because like I said, me being in this organization, it almost has nothing to do with me at this point. When I originally joined, I didn't even think that I was going to be in this long, let alone be an officer. And so now that I've gotten to this point, the thing that keeps me here literally is the Marines. And so in my position, I'm just doing as much as I can to uplift the people around me and bring in all the people that's going to take my place when I'm no longer wearing this uniform. And so first and foremost, I make sure, you know, that as a leader, I'm continuing to be myself, so I don't put out some false perception of what a Marine Corps officer is or whatever, just to let people know that they are capable of doing this job. Because if you see someone that's reflected in you, either in the way they look, the way they act, the way they talk, just whatever different ways that you can relate to somebody, you can kind of see yourself filling those shoes. And with that, you know, I've been able to relate to a lot of the Marines around me, to be able to talk to them, to either encourage them to think bigger in the organization, because some people may come in with short-term goals, which is also fine. Not saying that everybody that puts on this uniform has to be here forever, but some of them might, you know, their goals change depending on what they see around them. And so if I continue to be myself and let them know that you don't have to change who you are as a person in order to be a leader in this organization, that's big. So that's one thing I just make sure that stay true to myself. The other thing that's big on me is to just take care of the Marines around me. And like, I know I keep saying it, but that's huge. And especially being a company commander, like there's a lot of things that I can do in that position to make sure I'm timely when Marines are requesting, if they're sending TA requests, I'm timely with that. If they're trying to get their outbound, their CO interviews done or whatever they need, and to have an interview with me to make sure that they're set up for their transition out of the Marine Corps. I need to make sure that I take all that stuff seriously, and it's not just a check in the box. When Marines are getting ready, at the end of an exercise or at the end of their tour, if there are Marines who rate awards, like hitting up their leadership, like, hey, we need to be putting something in the system for them. This Marine, did a good job. I want to make sure that they're awarded for the things that they're doing. Or even like something as simple as approving leave requests timely, just making sure whatever it is that I need to do to take care of them administratively, I make sure those things are done timely, because I know how it is to be sitting there waiting for somebody to approve your package for whatever, and all these things. And being a headquarters company commander, that's like a bulk of my day to day is all of the packages that come through from Marines, making requests for education, for skill bridge programs, for maybe they're trying to get comrades because they have a job that doesn't allow them to meet the time for the chow hall, so they need to be able to get extra funding to get food from somewhere else or whatever. I just need to make sure that I dedicate enough time to get those things done, and Marines aren't sitting around waiting on me to be able to get whatever it is that they're requesting. So taking care of the Marines, and for those that I do have the direct impact to work with in person, just making sure I'm talking to them about, what are your goals? What are you doing to reach those goals? And then checking in with them to make sure that they're doing, they're meeting their personal goals and developing in the way that they saw themselves developing, joining this organization. And so, last but not least, I just make sure that as a team, we're doing what we need to do to meet the mission. And so whether that's, handling all the administrative mountain that comes with a headquarters company, my team making sure we get everything done to meet the mission that way, or whenever we're pushing out for an exercise and making sure that we're all working together to make sure every person out here has what they need to be able to command and control their group, their troops on the ground. It's just making sure that we're able to work as a team to get all those things done. So those are just the things that I look to, making sure I stay myself, like I said, making sure I stay myself, take care of the Marines, and then meet the mission. And that's pretty much where I get my style of leadership from.
Love it. Love it. As I sat here and I listened to both of you, talk about, why leadership is important, and some of the traits, and then your leadership style. I think there's one word that comes to mind for me, and that word is boom. Let's go. Man, this is some good stuff right here, right? And so, I think Captain Ogunyemi, and he said, like, first to me, I think it's really cool that you guys are in the Marine Corps, doing your thing. Like that's elite, right? And then he said, just in taking care of my Marines, he said that. I'm like, wait a minute, man. Like, these guys are captains in the Marine Corps. Come on, man. Let's go. And so I think it's so amazing what you all are doing. I think it's really cool how you do what you do, because I think you're centered and you're grounded, like deeply rooted with some core common principles that make a huge difference, right? And both of you have said this in both sessions that we've done so far, about taking care of people, about let this person go first because I just want to listen and learn, those kind of things. And so I think when you can be selfless, just take care of the people around you, I think it's amazing how the big man sees fit to take care of you. And I've seen that happen so many times in my life, in the life of the people that I've learned from, that have led me. And it's so amazing. So again, I just want to say thanks so much for what you do and how you do what you do, and then taking the time to hang out with me to talk leadership so that others can be better. Did you have some Cap Ogunyemi?
Oh no, I'm just bobbing my head and enjoying it. I told you I got a big head, little neck. Sometimes I think my neck starts getting. But man, hey, listen, Chip, I really enjoy this, man, because like you just said, sometimes it's just good to sit back and just learn,
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like I'm doing now. I'm taking notes. I'm stealing stuff from Captain Pharms and putting in my leadership philosophy. I mean, she talks about like taking care of Marines administratively. You just don't know how big of a deal that is, There's so many Marines that we just, and I'm sure every organization does it, but at our level as captains, there's no excuse for it. You should know every Marine by name. You should know who you're leading, right? And at times I think we make excuses. I think at times we sort of shrug it off, but now I really appreciate this session. Like I said, I'm just learning. I'm learning from Chip Baker and Captain Lakyra Pharms. I'm just here taking notes.
Well, and that's
same here.
Yeah,
I was gonna say same here. Just taking notes and I like the point that you brought up with always learning, because that's big, and you need to understand as a leader that there's always room for growth, and that you can learn from anybody. And if you ever get to the point where you feel like the person talking to you that you can't learn anything from them, then that's when there's time for some self-adjustment. Because it doesn't matter like who I'm talking to in the room. You can learn something from everybody. And so I think I'm grateful to be a part of this. I hope somebody's able to take something from it. I know I was, and like I said before, I just appreciate the opportunity. So thanks.
Yeah. And that was one thing. I'm glad y'all elaborated more on that, because I was going to say that too. That was another trait that I noticed. You talked about, continuous learning, but like all of us, have pens and notepads and taking notes, right? So like, man, this is the opportunity to get better. Oh, come on, let's go, and I think you have to have that. And then when you get that concept of addition versus multiplication, right? So like, Captain Ogunyemi, he adds value. Captain Pharms, you add value. I'm striving to add some value, but like when we can come together, the value that we add, it multiplies, right? And it makes everything more better, right?
Yes.
It makes everything more better, and we learn, we grow, we get better, and we're better for the people that we love and care for through our leadership, and that right there, and that's when you're in alignment with your assignment. Come on.
Like that.
Come on.
Okay. All right.
Come on. Let's go. Come on. Well, again, I just want to say thank you, and thank you guys for checking out this session 2 leadership session, defining leadership. And we hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you can take something from it and use it to help you be a more effective leader in what you do. So again, thank you for taking the time. See you next time. God bless. Go get it.